Hey guys, this is part 3 of, yes, a very long saga, and I really didn't want it to be this long, but I think because of my subscriber base currently at the moment being so small, not afraid to admit it, I don't have the capacity to put big notes on my video. So in the form of like a note, you know, you click in, you read the note, and then you click into the actual video. So, but that doesn't worry me, because even if it's in years to come, if someone clicks on part 1, part 2, part 3, which this is, by the way, part 3 of my Gold Coast University Hospital feedback experience, whatever you want to call it, if they see that, they watch my video and they think, oh my God, it's still the same, it hasn't changed. God forbid. You know, God forbid one day that a high profiler actually goes to the hospital and has their work done, and it's with their private health insurer. But regardless, they've been there, it's not changed. They see that, you know, someone else gets treated differently to themselves, and they think, you know what? I don't want to come here anymore. So I'm not even worried that I don't have that subscriber base at the moment to be able to show them my feelings and my experience about the Gold Coast University Hospital. And I am shaming them because they shouldn't make someone feel this way. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I'm going to actually do a part 4. Yes, I'm sorry, but it won't consist of any more notes after this. These parts were only purely because I couldn't type this much information, and it was about an A4 piece of paper into my YouTube video. So in turn, what's happened is I've made it part 1, part 2, part 3. But part 4 is going to be of hopefully a more positive thing, but I'm going to pay to have a neurosurgeon assess my MRIs. And if in any way they're different, if my treatment's different, I'm going to analyse that, I'm going to break it down, I'm going to put it on here. If, let's say, the decision is the same, I still don't need neurosurgery, and I pray to God that still remains the same, okay? However, I mean, if my result stays the same as the Gold Coast University Hospital sees it, that was an incorrect statement prior. When I go to a private surgeon and they tell me if my treatment is different, even if it's not different, I will be coming back on here and I'll be giving you my honest feedback. And that will be about how I was treated, the results of my MRIs, how I felt before I went into the appointment, how I felt coming out of the appointment. So, and I think these are important issues because I'm not the only patient, I can assure you of that this treatment has occurred to. I've never really seen a lot of public hospitals. I've only really been into one private, St Margaret's, which is closed down years ago. That was to give birth to my beautiful first child, Lauren. The second birth was through a public hospital, the Brisbane Royal Women's Hospital, or the Royal Women's and Brisbane Hospital. That was in Brisbane, Hurston. I couldn't really fault anything, even though I was pushed to get up and get out of bed to have a shower the second day after a C-section. I was in pain, yes. Perhaps I should have been a little bit more clearer with my pain relief. However, I wasn't. I don't regret that visit. Not at all. The staff showed the utmost of caring, sympathy, empathetic. They had knowledge about what they were doing. They could back up everything that they did with me. They explained why it was important to get out of bed the next day, why it's important to get up, and why it's important to get nursing from the breast. And that's what I wanted. If I didn't want that, then I felt they wouldn't have pressured me. There were other ladies. There were other ladies that didn't want to breastfeed. let me say this. This is going off the track, I know, but this is just an example of how hospitals can be different. There was a particular family that wanted to make sure that the child got the colostrum, okay? It's important that a child gets the first lot of colostrum. I can't remember why, but I know it's important. So this mother breastfed. She didn't want to have the baby on her breast, but she actually pumped her breast. So the colostrum came out. Now, a nurse did that for her because she wanted to make sure that her child got every last drop of colostrum. Every nurse that continued to pump her breast understood her needs, cared for her needs, and didn't question her needs. And there was even a nurse that I felt was a bit like too bossy, but she was that way for a reason. She was my nurse, and she knew that I had to be pressured slightly into doing things. And that's so true, so very true. Otherwise, I never would have gotten out of bed. I would have been in hospital for more than a week. And I gave natural birth to my first child. She ripped me to shreds, of course, the doctor did, with the forceps coming out. However, it was a 7-day stay. It was private insurance, and I also suffered some postpartum blues. And I was so young, so they wanted to keep an eye on me before I actually went home. And I felt confident about going home, really did. It's just unfortunate that this time around with the C-section, it was a lot difficult. And this was going back 11 years now. So I know that different hospitals can give different care, especially depending on the departments. But there's absolutely no excuse to be told that you can't come here to the emergency room. Now, this is my breakdown of how I felt. You can't come here to the emergency room and want to get TLC. You've got to get that from home. You've got to get that from your GP. You've got to go to your GP. You've got to seek, psychologist help or blah, 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 right? That was one experience I got. And it's what you get out of your experience. It's not just how you feel, or it's what you get out of it. It's your interpretation. And I feel doctors are trained and they're unequipped to be able to emotionally deal. And I suppose in a way they can't emotionally deal with certain things, because what if they're telling a patient they're dying and they've got hours to live? Okay, yes, I understand that. But I was in agony, I was in pain. Yes, I could have been a drug addict coming in for drug medication, but I could have been given a psych consult. Yes, it would have cost the government to do one. But at least then in my current records, it would have said psychiatric consult, not here because she's a drug addict or whatever the case may be. But instead I was told by this doctor, and his name is Adam, and that name will stick to me in my head for the rest of my life. Maybe if I get dementia, it might just dwindle away. Don't know whether he still works there. Don't care to see him ever again. And hopefully, I have emailed, I was watching a video once, and I responded to the video saying, do doctors get training in bedside manners? Do they get training in being able to talk to people with emotion, with empathy, with sympathy? And this comment came back. She was so nice, and the way she put it was just unbelievable, and it was almost enough to forgive the hospital for what they've done. But after my most recent, that sadness came back and that hatred came back. Hatred, I shouldn't say hatred. Hate's a big word. Disappointment, because I don't hate anything or anyone, and I never have in my life. Never hated anyone in my life. So the response came back, and the response was, they never used to, but now we do try and incorporate some sort of training in the doctors' lives so that they show more empathy, more sympathy. And I privately messaged this person back who owned the YouTube channel, and I explained my situation, and he said that this is the reason why we were training staff, because of your situation. And believe it or not, I was at a hospital yesterday and there were a lot of people getting shown around. I was in my wheelchair, going back out the front, or going to my appointment, sorry, and this person behind the wheelchair pushing me, this lovely gentleman, beautiful person he was, and so far everyone else apart from these doctors have been beautiful to me. It takes one person to stuff that up. Anyway, my point is, those people that were being shown around were potential donators to the hospital. So they were obviously bigwigs. They were people who had the money to be able to donate to the hospital. And the hospital it's artistry. It really is an artist. It's, to be honest with you, it's artistry, sorry. It doesn't even really look like a hospital when you first walk into it. It really doesn't. And I have been to a few hospitals, but not a great deal of hospitals, just enough to sort of warrant. I've been with my daughter, myself, my husband, and my son. So I've seen at least 4 different hospitals. But yes, a lot of them were old. 5, I'm sorry, with my friend. I went with my friend to look after her operation in Sydney. And they were trying to obviously drum up some money for the hospital. So be it. Public systems need the finances. Now, it's a shame if someone sees this video that could possibly be thinking of donating, but then changes their mind because of 2 silly doctors. 2 silly doctors. And they were neurosurgeons. So basically, to sum up part 1 and part 2, I walked to many of appointments, knowing what I wanted to say, knowing what I wanted to hear, and knowing how I wanted to come out of that appointment. I went in with questions. Not all of them got answered because the wrong areas of my spine were MRI'd to start with. Then when I went to get MRIs, I was asked to confirm what I was getting done and where I was having it done, and it wasn't happening. It wasn't even written on the referral that I was having a certain area done. It was just lucky that I called for a doctor to come down because there were 3 doctors off sick this particular day that I went to radiology. And he said, no worries. I'm having sedation because, number 1, the pain, number 2, I'm claustrophobic. And I've only been that way since I've been sick. So he wrote up and he added to that referral, and I don't care if it's illegal to do that. He did that knowing that he was advocating for me, and this was his way of advocating. And so help me God, thank you so much, and I'm so sorry if I get you in trouble. Because, well, as it turns out anyway, it made no difference because the doctor I saw said that the last one, which was actually this one, I had my thoracic, lumbar and sacral done. Yep, great. And then when I asked him what one was done prior to that, he said lumbar and thoracic. I went, oh, great. What one was this one? Lumbar and thoracic. I got a bit confused. So in the end, I've had 1 full thoracic, lumbar, sacral. All the others had been thoracic MRIs. And I've had CTs as well. But they were on the full spine. They weren't done through this hospital. So very, very disappointed in the way that the doctors treated me. You know, the head neurosurgeon's there for a reason. No sooner did I get to the outpatients, just outside that red area, and if you've seen the Gold Coast Hospital, you know what I'm talking about, into that area, looking up at the sun, the doctor who saw me walked out, his boss walked out, and obviously the second person that big doctor was training walked out. The doctor I saw quickly ran off to the right of me. I had my head up. I'd already seen him by this point. Doctor Chang, I'm sorry, I don't remember who you are, because I was never really told your name, and that's so unprofessional too. Was talking to, obviously, the second trainee. He just walked off virtually straight in front of me and straight off to the other section, straight off the other way. I do feel like that other doctor ran off to my right because he didn't want to be approached. He was ashamed of what the other doctor was possibly telling him. This is my opinion. He was ashamed that his boss man said, just fob her off, just tell her what we need to tell her and just let her be, let her go. She's obviously maybe a neurotic. I don't know, but I certainly, and it makes me so angry to today. It makes me so angry to the extent where I've made myself a private appointment to see a private neurosurgeon. And when I do, I'm going to compare both appointments. It's not the hospital. It is, yes, the hospital staff, but it's the neurosurgeons in particular that really, sorry, not just them, it's the emergency staff as well, the doctors in there. They lack of empathy, they have lack of sympathy. They think that people like me with persistent pain are there for drugs, when that's not what I was there for. I just wanted the pain to go away. That's just to sum it up. You've heard it all, and the most important thing is to read what I've read. And I'm sorry that I've even have to go this far, but to be honest with you, I'm absolutely horrendously ashamed that we have a healthcare system, a hospital, like this, that isn't really in the need of helping people like myself. They believe I'm addicted to drugs, and guess what? I am. I'm on a lot of opioids. I'm on Valium, for God's sake. I am addicted. There's even a GP out there that I had a bad experience with, and I've learnt to, since then, know what my condition is fully. His name is Dr. Clegg. I swear to you, there's no other way to describe him but he's a pig. He's an absolute pig. I've been to other doctors before while I've had this condition, and they've not spoken to me like he spoke to me this particular day. So, not impressed with him either. And if it wasn't for my particular FRACGP, I wouldn't be at this medical centre. But the receptionist, the nurses, this particular doctor of mine, Gillian Colclough, they are beautiful people, and that's what brings me back. That's what makes me come back every time. So, there you go. But I don't really want to say anything else about this matter. It was just a bad situation, and I'm ashamed to say that we do have doctors like this in our medical system, and I think that Australia needs to up their training and train doctors how to have correct bedside manners rather than fob people off. I don't care whether there's the staff shortage. I don't care whether the resources of the hospital are lacking. I just don't care. It's not our fault. If it starts from the politicians' level, then let them deal with it. But the thing is, fight for us, the public. The public are the ones that are keeping you guys employed. Shame on you, Gold Coast Hospital, shame on you, and that's what I have to say. And it's only so far with the ER, emergency room, doctors only, this particular doctor, not the nurses, no other people associated with the emergency room, and the neurosurgery outpatients. The doctor I saw, naughty. You had a job to do, and that was to advocate for your patient, and you didn't do it. You walked out of that room numerous times, and I believe you just stood either outside that door or you went for a walk. You just played the fiddle. But you should have advocated for me with the doctor. But you didn't do it. So in my mind, you're not good either. And I can only pray and I can only hope that one day you come across that doctor that are going to teach you, that are going to give you these attributes, that are going to make you a good doctor, a doctor that people will invest in. So once again, shame on you, Gold Coast University Hospital, and hopefully this is the last part to my whole series. I can't fit any more writing in, and hopefully I'll learn how to do that notation thing that you guys are doing out there. So if you watch this in 2 years time, 2 months time, 20 years time, 5 years time, 6 years time, 6 months time, know that you need to compare between this now and then when you are now watching this video. Love you guys, take care, subscribe, hit the bell, and don't forget thumbs up or even thumbs down. I don't care. I do care actually, but I don't care that you give me a thumbs down. It means that I need to pick up my pace. See you later guys, take care. Mwah! Until we meet again. Ooh la la.